Some cozy Sunday afternoon vibes. Hello everyone, welcome to the stream. It's been a few days. Hello Alpha, not staying long, got an unused bedroom filled with collectibles and other stuff to sort out, so I'll have things ready for whenever I move in. Nice, excellent stuff. This is what Sunday's all about, it's about sorting stuff out. And what I wanted to do this Sunday was to chill out, have a nice cup of coffee, and make a character in D&D that I've been thinking about for a little while. So I thank everyone who wishes to join me on this adventure. So today, let me just close Discord. So I don't want Discord notifications popping up. So today we recently made our changeling bard, also known as Hera, also known as the Bard. But now I'm thinking, I've been listening to a lot of The Who recently. Not The Who as in WHO. Wow, I forgot how to spell the word Who. WHO. More The Who as in the HU, which are like a metal band that incorporate throat singing into their music. Let me pop myself on performance mode, because otherwise my laptop might explode. And I really like the idea of like an orc bardbarian who is like a war singer who goes in and just trying to inspires people with this throat chanting. So I wanted to get this kind of out of my brain and onto digital paper. So I thought, why not do it live? Just chill out, have a brew. And just bring people along for the ride. And as if it couldn't get any cozy enough, there's rain softly patting on the window just behind me that I can just hear ever so slightly, which is delightful. I may have to get like that sound effect on loop somewhere. Because unfortunately, due to the noise cancelling software that I use, you might not be able to hear it, but it's definitely there. I can see it dripping off of the scaffolding around our house. So I'm thinking BARDbarian. I'm thinking Half-Orc because they're very tribalistic, and I want to steer away from Urash, who was pure thoroughbred barbarian, and I want to go towards someone who doesn't necessarily. Hello, Genrazy, how are you? It's been a while since I've spoken to you. I want to steer away from like the dumb barbarian. Not that I said peripheral mic, that's because my name was highlighted on the screen then. Not that Urash, I think, was a dumb barbarian. There were certainly moments of clarity there, but I want this to be, I don't know, I'm thinking like Nordic culture and Viking-ish in nature, that sort of thing. Full-on orc, gentleman and a scholar, battle mage. I like it. So I'm going to go as yet unnamed. For anybody watching who hasn't seen me do this before, or is watching on unnamed, for anyone who hasn't seen me do this before, I'm using D&D Beyond, which is my personal favorite resource to create characters for Dungeons and Dragons. Every now and then I'll have like a cool idea for a character and I'm like, oh, I wonder how that would play out on paper. So I could, in theory, get all of the rulebooks together and try and get the bit of source from this rulebook and the bit of source from that rulebook and the bit of source from that. I could do that, and I do that sometimes. But I do think sometimes it's more a case of it's just easy to do it here because D&D Beyond takes a lot of the bits and pieces that you would normally forget, or bits and pieces that you just don't know. Take Silver, for example, which you can watch. He's my half-elven sorcerer, half-elven aberrant mind sorcerer, who you can watch in action this coming Tuesday at 9 PM BST on twitch.tv/gogcom, GOGCOM. When I was creating Silvo, there was a lot. I never made a sorcerer before. I've never made a half-elf before either, so it's all very new to me. There was a lot of stuff I didn't realise. I didn't realise that half-elves got certain stat bonuses. I got certain skill proficiencies. Those countered other skill proficiencies that I might get and might choose. That sort of thing based on my background. So I was like, I need a bit of hand-holding with this. That's why I like using D&D Beyond. So I'm just going to go with regular... You're very quiet. Much better on my Bluetooth earbud though. Well, I can definitely... I tell you what, I can bring myself a smidge closer. This is a very sensitive microphone, so I don't want to talk too loud. I can turn the music down a smidge as well. So that might balance things out a little bit. Who knows? What I normally do is I normally have myself on my phone because I'm a narcissist like that, and I will check my volume levels based on this. So I'll do that now. Boop. Press on my face. The problem now, of course, being the fact that I'm not actually saying anything, so that it's not coming up with anything on my screen. You have your speakers. Oh, I see. Oh, yeah, no, I am quite. Well, I say quiet. Let me tweak that a bit. Again, this is a very sensitive microphone, so I'm going to just see how this, and I am being quite quiet, so we're just going to have to see how it rolls. Speaking of rolling, so I am going to go for milestone achievement based experience, so normal leveling. I'm not going to worry about anything like this. Encumbrance modifiers, anything, I'm not too fussed about any of that. Normally when I'm on this part of the character creation, I will just skip straight past this, give them a generic, I don't know what their name's going to be. I normally go with homebrew content if I'm part of a campaign that has it. Oh, thank you, Chenrizy. I'll go for Magic the Gathering content and Eberron content. I won't do non-core Rick and Morty and Critical Role. It's not that I don't enjoy them. I don't know much about them, and not a lot of what I'd consider to be regular DMs run that kind of content anyway. So it's just not something I normally go for. So I'm thinking Half-Orc. Can it be Orc? Can it be full? Oh, an Orc of Eberron. What's an Orc of Eberron? Thousands of years before humans came to Corvair, the land was dominated by wild orcs and goblinoids of the Dakani Empire. +2 strength, +1 constitution, dark vision, aggressive, powerful build, and primal intuition. I don't know if that fully fits what I want to achieve. Yeah, that's exactly what I thought, Echo. Orc of Eberron sounds too much like what I'm trying to not go for. So that's... I was leaning towards a Dragonborn as well. Maybe, I don't know, something a bit primal, but still... what's the term I'm looking for? Something primal, but not savage. You know, someone who has that kind of primalistic instinct within them, but not like full-on... they're a rabid animal in a cage. Like they're quite a fan of ooh, a Dragonborn. Are you going to try and create the big brother of River, aka Sea? Sea is her father, Lake is her brother. I love anthropomorphic races. I have heard that word before. I cannot remember what it means though. So even something like a Tabaxi or a Warforged. Warforged, I don't really feel like Warforged would be like kind of primal enough. Oh, animals on 2 legs. Thank you. So Lisbon, Tabaxi, Dragonborn, Kenku, etc. Definitely not Kenku. Not an Orc Veberon. Not Kenku. I am leaning towards a Half-Orc because they have a very kind of that's a Goliath. Strong and reclusive. Every day brings a new challenge to the Goliath. Go to the Goliath detail page. At the highest mountain peaks, far above the slopes where trees grow and where air is thin and the frigid winds howl, dwell the reclusive Goliaths. Few folk can claim to have seen a Goliath, and fewer still can claim friendship with them. Goliaths wander the bleak realm of rock, wind and cold. Their bodies look as though they are carved from mountain stone to give them the great physical power. Their spirits take after the wandering mind. Their spirits take after the wandering wind, making them nomads who wander from peak to peak. Their hearts are infused with the cold regard of the frigid realm, leaving each Goliath with the responsibility to earn a place in the tribe or die trying. Excuse me. Yeah, Goliath would be a proper choice if I want to go a bit Nordic. Driven competitors. Every day brings a new challenge to Goliath. Food, water and shelter are rare in the uppermost mountain reaches. A single mistake can bring doom to an entire tribe, whilst an individual's heroic efforts can ensure an entire group's survival. Goliath thus place a premium on self-sufficiency and individual skill. It does feel... that feels a little closer to what I want, a Goliath. Let's go back to races a second. Actually, whoops. Let's just go back. One MacBook, you can do it. I believe in you. What was the other one I wanted to have a quick look at? Yeah, Dragonborn. Dragonborn. Born of dragons, as their name proclaims, the Dragonborn walk proudly through the world that greets them with fearful incomprehension. Shaped by draconic gods and dragons themselves. I'm literally just sounds a bit barbarian. Yeah, I do think I'm going for a Half-Orc. I think I'm part of me is trying to not go for a Half-Orc because I've not very long stopped playing one. But I do think it fits this character's idea more than anything else. So with Half-Orc I get Dark Vision, Menacing, which means I'm proficient with the Intimidation skill, Relentless Endurance, which basically means I get an extra life, and Savage Attacks, which means when I score a critical hit with a melee weapon, I can roll one of that weapon's damage dice again and add the extra damage to that hit. Yeah, that seems more like what I want. Dark Vision, Menacing, Relentless Endurance and Savage Attacks. Cool. What I'm going to be going for is probably a level 1 Barbarian, level 1 Bard, so I can get the best of both worlds. I don't think this person would be kind of too fussed about going for like a subdomain or a subclass in Bard. Like they wouldn't join a school of something. You could try Half Giant if you want to change. Is that a thing? I think Goliath might be the closest thing I've got there. Let's just click back on race a second. Change race. Giants? Yeah, Goliath. Yeah, Goliath might be the closest thing I've got there. Especially even on this kind of campaign anyway. So Half-Orc. Half-Orc. Oh, I've already chosen Half-Orc. Okay. Keep race. Yeah, Echo, I'm very nearly making Urash really if you go for Bard/Barbarian. He wasn't really... I think maybe I want to make a refined version of him. So maybe now I know more about the rules. Maybe this is what I wanted from him. I wanted someone who could hold a bit of a conversation, was very proud, like had very strong ties to his tribe, but also when going into battle could inspire people either through actions or song or, you know... I get Urash was very quiet, and that's one. Yeah, this is why we had a ball to his end. For those of you who are watching who don't know that, well, you should really watch the Storm King's Thunder campaign we did on GOG.com, or other twitch.tv/GOG.com. You can also check them out on YouTube as well. But this was we got a party of 4 of us, which was a Dwarven Cleric, a Half-Orc Barbarian, a Dragonborn, was River a Sorcerer? River was a Sorcerer, Dragonborn Sorcerer, and also a Halfling Rogue / Ranger. Yeah, we got invited to a ball, and the Half-Orc Barbarian was dressed up to the nines in like a proper suit and tux. It was brilliant. And then he and the Dragonborn Sorcerer got into a dancing contest. It turned into a little bit like is it the Mamushka from Addams Family? I can't remember. That was it. Dwarven Cleric of Faltus, Halfling, Rogue / Ranger, Dragonborn Sorcerer, and Urash the Urash. Yeah, so I think maybe like Urash was my first character from for years, really. Years and years and years. So, Mushka, yeah. And I think maybe I went a little, not simplistic, but I had that slight lack of creativity because I was a bit intimidated about all the rules and all the components, and like I didn't really know how much impact this character would have on me. So now I'm like, this is probably like Urash 2.0, or maybe someone from his clan, like part of that extended universe. So as a barbarian at level 1, we get Rage, naturally. Unarmored defense, which means we don't need to wear any armor to get a decent AC. Although I do think this person might wear armor, I'm not sure. And the rest of the stuff comes at level 2, so we're going to add that class. And I do also get some proficiencies as well. So for my proficiencies, I currently have light armor, medium armor, and shields. If I remember correctly, no, I do want him to have a shield. That's the difference. I don't want him to have a double-handed weapon. I want this to be kind of shield and hand weapon, and be able to then bash that as a drum, basically. They're going to be a very basic bard, singing and making noise. That's pretty much it. Not like the changeling bard that I made, who will still do something similar, but that's not a functional shield on that they're carrying. That's like just a piece of brass that if it was hit, it would just fold in like tinfoil. Get saving throws against strength and constitution, and I can choose 2 skills. So I get bonus to these skills. I'm thinking perception and athletics, because those are both very good. Rage at first level, that's fine, and unarmored defense. And let's go. How do you add another level in something? Add another class. Excellent stuff. So Bard, add class. So my class features at this point. I gain a musical instrument proficiency and a skill proficiency as well. So my musical instrument is probably going to be the war gong. As we spoke about previously, the war gong is just basically a large disc of metal that can be struck to make a noise. This doesn't have to be on like a stand or anything like that, or wheeled in with a big kind of ceremonial hammer or anything like that. It can just be, a hammer. Ooh, I like the idea of that. Is there a one-handed hammer I can use? And I'm also going to take, let's say, I already get proficiency in intimidation, so that's not on here. And I've already taken, what should I take? Acrobatics is always a good one. Oh, hey Union Jacko, how are you doing? Light hammer or warhammer? I'm thinking a one-handed hammer, so I'm thinking maybe a light hammer, because I think warhammers I can only wield in 2 hands, I think. But yeah, I'm thinking something like that. Deception, no. History, I mean, maybe they'll know about their history. This isn't going to be stereotypical hit things with weapon, watch things die kind of BARDbarian. I want this to be like, think of it like an apprentice tribal leader, you know. Investigation's a good shout. Medicine, I like the idea that they, ooh, I don't know, I'm going to take medicine. I like the idea of medicine. So spellcasting, again, spellcasting as a feature is affected by multiclassing. Okay, that's fine. And bardic inspiration, that's what I'm really after. So bardic inspiration basically says you can inspire others through stirring words or music. To do so, use a bonus action on your turn to choose one creature other than yourself, and choose one creature other than yourself. Oh, that's a maul. A warhammer is versatile, so one or two-handed. Ooh, a warhammer? How exciting! And that creature gains one bardic inspiration die, a d6. Once within the next 10 minutes, the creature can roll the die and add the number rolled to one ability check, attack roll, or saving throw that it makes. Excellent. This is exactly what I want. So yes, I would like that. I'm going to go for spells as well. I'm going to add some spells. So I get 2 cantrips and 4 known spells. Oh, this is always where I get screwed up. So this is someone, let's just go for cantrips at the minute. It's going to be slightly, I say slightly easier. Well, Warhammer's 1d8 versus a Lighthammer, which is 1d4. Oh yeah, absolutely take a Warhammer. Or something like a maul. Something, I don't know, something, I'll have a look. Blade Ward. You extend your hand and trace a sigil of warding in the air. Until the end of your next turn, you have resistance against bludgeoning, piercing, slashing damage. I already get that with rage, so that's kind of a no for me. Dancing lights. You create up to 4 torch-sized lights within range, making them appear as torches, lanterns, or glowing orbs that hover in the air for the duration. You can also combine the 4 lights into one glowing, vaguely humanoid form of medium size. No, that seems a bit... I don't know about that one. But if you want to refine him, Lighthammer would suffice more than so. Maybe. I'm thinking later on down the line, this person's going to be like a... What was the one from Tasha's... Tasha's Cauldron of Everything? There was some barbarian specific... Do I have it here actually? Oh no, I don't. There was some barbarian specific subclasses, and one of them was like... not the Storm Herald. I think it was like Spirit Guardian or something like that. I think that's what I'm leaning into at the minute. We'll have a look. Well, I'm gonna make this character, and then I'm gonna level them up to a certain point, and then this campaign that I'm in has Tasha's Cauldron of Everything, so I should be able to just add that basically. Hello, Giblix. Yeah, you're absolutely right. I am making more characters I never get to play. So today I'm making a BARDbarian. This is going to be a little bit different to Urash, my Half-Orc barbarian and devout follower of Tempest. God, I miss saying that. Whereas this person, I don't know if this person's going to have a deity, but they're going to be someone who would inspire and lead rather than, you know, just hack things up. This is going to be a, BARDbarian, basically. Beauty of being a DM, all my characters make it in. Yeah, fantastic. Whether you get to play them or not, all your characters make them in, whether NPC or otherwise. Mending. This spell repairs a single break or tear in an object you touch, such as a broken chain link, 2 halves of a broken key, a torn cloak, or a leaking water skin. That seems quite good. For someone who doesn't... It's not that they won't... Or Vicious Mockery. I like the idea of Vicious Mockery. You unleash a string of insults laced with subtle enchantments at your creature you can see within range. If the target can hear you, though it need not understand you, it must succeed a wisdom saving throw or take 1d4 psychic damage. Yeah, absolutely. I'm going to let Vicious Mockery. True Strike. What was I saying about mending? Yeah, that feels quite like a good utility cantrip, especially for someone who isn't a utility character, but they would need magic that wouldn't be like fireball. Like their default is to just go in with their weapon. The magic would just complement what they do on a daily basis. Vicious mockery. I like that. Oops. True strike. You point a finger at a target in range. Your magic grants you a brief insight into the target's defenses. On your next turn, you gain advantage on your first attack roll against the target, provided that the spell hasn't ended. What's the up to 1 round? Okay, so I would need to cast that, and then I would get the advantage. Excuse me. And it's 1 action, not a bonus action. I mean, free advantage is free advantage, right? But I'm not 100% sure that's something I want to waste a turn doing. But that's a maybe. Thunderclap. You create a burst of thunderous sound that can be heard up to 100 feet away. Jeez. Each creature within range, other than you, must succeed on a Constitution saving. Oh, jeez. That's going to be a lot of friendly fire. Prestidigitation. I hear a lot about prestidigitation, that it's like super utility based, and I'm just not. I don't know if this would be cool for my character or not. Minor illusion. Message. You point a finger towards a creature within range and whisper a message. The target, and only the target, hears the message and can reply in a whisper that only you can hear. I think mending, definitely. I've also got two more cantrips. Oh no, I only have 2 cantrips. Okay. Okay, that's fine. Vicious Mockery and Mending. I'm more than happy with that. So, I know 4 first level spells. Absolutely Giblix. It does depend on the DM, and I suppose it also depends on the creativity of the player as well. It's like I'm trying to think of interesting and weird ways to use shape water in our Ghost of Saltmarsh campaign, and I think that's only using like 1 element in a very specific set of circumstances. I don't know. I mean, I am a creative person, but I don't know in the middle of a D&D fight if I'd be able to go, oh, I'm going to do this, you know, or be able to think of stuff on the fly like that. I feel like it would be one of those, I would have great ideas for it in between campaign sessions, but never really think about them during it. Yeah, absolutely. So I get 4 known first level spells. That doesn't mean I can cast 4 first level spells, it just means I know 4 first level spells. So I like the idea of animal friendship. What's that? This spell lets you convince a beast that you mean it no harm. Choose a beast that you can see within range. It must see and hear you. If the beast's intelligence is 4 or higher, the spell fails. Otherwise, the beast must succeed on a wisdom saving throw or be charmed by you. Oh, I like that. Oh, that's a yes from me. I can think of great things with animal friendship. And this is the sort of vein I want to go down with this character and these spells. I want to go down sort of not like I shoot a lightning bolt at this, like I shoot a fireball at this. It's more things that complement someone who has grown up in a half-orc environment and been part of a tribe and part of a war party, that sort of thing. Bane. Up to 3 creatures of your choice that you can see within range must make charisma saving throws. Whenever a target that fails this saving throw makes an attack roll or a saving throw before the spell ends, the target must roll a d4 and subtract that number. That's exactly the kind of vibe I'm going for. A half-orc banner carrier or war drummer. I'm thinking war drummer because I've given him the war gong. Will you grab some healing? Yeah, probably. So yeah, cure wounds is definitely a good one. Or is it healing word? Healing word. People keep saying that's like the best healing spell in the world, so maybe healing word, who knows. Yeah, I've given them war gong because this person's going to have a shield and a melee weapon, and that's fine because they're going to be able to do bardic inspiration by just clanging their weapon and shield together. That's the sort of vibe I want to go for. Banner carrier's a good one though. I like that idea of banner carrier. Immediate disadvantage, -20 on all stealth checks. It reminds me of some hobgoblin bards I made, having them hidden in the mist, playing their war drums, and those drums were used to cast haste and other support spells on the young green dragon and other allies. Oh my god. Oh, yikes. Jeez, that's just vicious. I love it. I don't mind the idea of Bane. I quite like it. I appear to be leaning towards enchantment at the minute. Charm person, you attempt to charm a humanoid you can see within range. I mean, that might... No, I don't really. Comprehend language is definitely not. Cure wounds, maybe. Detect magic. Disguise self, no. Dissonant whispers, I do know what that means. That seems a bit subtle. I basically whisper damage into the opponent's brain. Earth tremor. You cause a tremor in the ground within range. Each creature other than you in that area must make a dexterity saving throw. Each creature other than you in the area. What's the area, sorry? 10 foot. As in, like, what kind of area is it? You cause a tremor on the ground, in the ground within range. Is it just like splash damage? Is it out? Oh no, I'll have to have a look at that. Each creature other than you in the area must make a dex saving throw. On a failed save, the creature takes 1d6 bludgeoning damage and is knocked prone. I like the idea of that. Thematically, my character, as yet unnamed BARDbarian, could like slam on the ground and that could be like a boom. I like that. I'm going to learn that. Fairy fire. Each object in a 20-foot cube within range is outlined in blue, green, or violet light. Your choice. Any creature in the area when the spell is cast is also outlined in light if it fails a dex saving throw. For the duration, objects and affected creatures shed dim light for a 10-foot radius. Any attack roll against an affected creature or an object has advantage if the attacker can see it, and the affected creature or object can't benefit from being invisible. Absolutely not a problem, Echo Alpha X5. Thank you very much for tuning in. Who's drag but on a crowd? Yeah. Yeah, basically that feels a little wasteful. I think this person's gonna be like, do a thing, not prep to do a thing. Although I say that, have I taken anything that is prep to do a thing? I've taken mending, which is fix it, and vicious mockery, which is screw you, and animal friendship, which is here boy, and earth tremor, which is ground slam, ground pound. So not very fire. Featherfall, they'll just rage. Healing word. Okay, so let's pick a healing spell. So we've got healing word. A creature of your choice that you can see within range, 60 feet, regains hit points equal to 1d4 plus your spell casting ability modifier. The spell has no effect on undead creatures or constructs. Okay, so one creature. Oh, it's a bonus action. Ooh, that makes it much better. A creature you touch regains a number of hit points equal to 1d8 plus your spellcasting ability modifier. Oh, I can start to see why Healing Word is a much better spell now. Not only is that range, but it's also a bonus action. So, yeah, you can get to anyone, anywhere. Yeah, you can just be like, you have at least 4 hit points. Which could be the difference. I mean, it's not a lot, but it could be the difference. So what's heroism? A willing creature you touch is imbued with bravery. That feels right. Until the spell ends, the creature is immune to being frightened and gains temporary hit points equal to your spell casting ability modifier at the start of each of its... At the start of each of its turns? What? At the end of the spell, the target... Can I do this on myself? No, I can't. I might be able to. At the end of the spell, the target loses any remaining temporary hit points from the spell. And heroism is strong. Concentration. Oh, concentration. Yeah, that's a good point. That's knocked it down in my estimation. Any others concentration? Instantaneous. Earth tremor. Instantaneous. Animal friendship. Just lasts for 24 hours. Yeah. I like that. Components. A morsel of food. Let's just go quickly onto these. Any of these. Mending should be instantaneous. And Vicious Mockery is probably instantaneous, so good. I don't want concentration based ones, because this is someone who's going to just be like, spell, whack, spell, whack. Actually, I do like the idea of heroism, because thematically that would be like the giant half-orc puts his hand on your shoulder and reminds you, you do know how to do this. I believe in you. And suddenly you're just like, oh man, maybe I do know how to do this. Maybe they do believe in me. So we'll keep that one on the back burner right now. Hideous laughter, also concentration. A creature of your choice that you can see within range perceives everything as hilariously funny and falls into fits of laughter. No, pass. Identify, don't care. Illusionary script. I'm assuming identify is just what I assume identify is, because I've never actually used it in D&D. You choose one object that you must touch throughout the casting of the spell for 1 minute. If it is a magical item or other non-magic imbued or some other magic imbued object, you learn its properties and how to use them, whether it requires attunement to use, how many charges it has, if any. You learn whether any spells are affecting the item or what they... To be honest, I don't really like the idea of that. Long Strider. You touch a creature, target speed increases by 10 foot. Silent image. You create an image of an object, a creature. No. Sleep. I like the idea of a barbarian telling the enemy to go to sleep. Go to sleep. Go to sleep. Yeah, I know, right, Giblix? I don't like identifying 5e either. It leaves no room to introduce curse items, so it's often homebrewed by DMs. I just don't... I mean, I'm in a really fortunate position. If I were going to play this character with a DM, it was probably going to be with Arv at some point in the future. And he does a really fine job of telling us like charges and stuff like that. Like one item does charges, like we'll go and pay to have something identified, and it's never normally a massive amount, and that kind of feels like it's part of the thing. I don't really feel like a BARDbarian should have the ability to go, oh yes, this is the ancient tablet of destiny, that you should leave that to the wizard folk. So that's my take on it anyway. What was I up to? Oh yeah, sleep. Oh, I'm running out of ones. Speak with animals. Duration 10 minutes, one action. You gain the ability to comprehend and verbally communicate with beasts for the duration. The knowledge and awareness of many beasts is limited by their intelligence, but at minimum, beasts can give you information about nearby locations and monsters, including whether they can perceive or have perceived. What? Oh, including whatever they can perceive or have perceived within the past day. You might be able to persuade a beast to perform a small favour for you at the GM's discretion. Or the DM's discretion, your choice. That's a maybe. Tasha's Hideous Laughter, presumably the same as Hideous Laughter? What's the difference between Hideous Laughter and Tasha's Hideous Laughter? Level 1 enchantment, 30 feet, 30 feet. One action. Same components, same concentration, same attack save. I think that's just exactly the same spell. Anyway, so Tasha's Hideous Laughter's out. Thunderwave. A wave of thunderous... Yes, Union Jackal. That's exactly. If you were really out to make a Tasha build, yeah, that's exactly what you would go for. What has Tasha's written on it? Yep. I mean, I hate it, but he's not wrong. A wave of thunderous force sweeps out from you. Each creature in a 15-foot cube Okay, 15-foot cube originating from you must make a Constitution saving throw, which are generally normally quite high anyway. Constitution scores. On a failed save, a creature takes 2d8 thunder damage and is pushed 10 feet away from you. On a successful save, the creature takes half as much damage and isn't pushed away. In addition, unsecured objects that are completely within the area are automatically pushed 10 feet from you by the spell's effects, and the spell emits a thunderous boom, audible out to 300 feet. Oh, that's 100% what I'm going to go for, isn't it? That's a proper, like, Marvel superhero landing move, that is. How many have I chosen? I've chosen 4. I've chosen Animal Friendship, Earth Tremor, Healing Word, and Thunderwave. What was the one I was thinking about? Was it Heroism? Yeah, it might have been Heroism. Yeah, I don't. There's a cantrip version of that. Is it? What? Thunderclap? Is this what you mean? You create a burst of thunderous sound that can be heard up to 100 feet away. Each creature within range, 5 feet, other than you must succeed on a Constitution saving throw or take 1d6 thunder damage. Yes. So maybe that instead of Vicious Mockery. Vicious Mockery, I do like the idea of Vicious Mockery. Maybe that instead of Mending. Yeah, that seems like a good shout. Thunderclap. Mending's all good and everything, but I don't know, I like the idea. I like the social aspect of mending, like being able to go. But then how often does stuff break in a D&D campaign? Like, I don't think we've ever found like a broken key. Arv, if you're watching this, please don't include broken items. Yeah, mending could repair stuff. So maybe I don't take Vicious Mockery, but I like the idea of just throwing an insult at an enemy and them going, oh, my brain. Oh, it can only repair small and non-magical stuff. That's going to be very niche then. The spell repairs a small break or tear in an object you touch, such as a broken chain link to... Oh, yeah. The spell can physically repair a magic item or construct, but the spell can't restore magic to such an object. Okay. Yeah, I don't think mending is for me then. Yeah, very situational. Oh, hello, Deviafish. You've missed valuable minutes of stream. That's absolutely fine. I can catch people up. Firstly, thank you for joining in. I'm currently making a BARDbarian, as yet unnamed. This person is going to be kind of like a banner carrier, or a war drummer, basically. So a little bit similar to the vein of Urash, but with more kind of finesse on it. So I'm thinking they're going to have a shield and a melee weapon, and when they go into battle, they're going to be able to inspire people by just clanging on the shield, basically. Very slightly similar to the Changeling Bard we made recently, but their shield is just like a ceremonial thing, like a sheet of brass or gold even, which if you were to actually attack it would just crumple like tinfoil. And we're just on spells at the minute, so we're just on Bard spells. So at the moment, for cantrips, we've chosen Thunderclap and Vicious Mockery. I really like the idea of Vicious Mockery, just kind of throwing an insult at an enemy, like spitting a half-orc insult and them just going, oh no, my brain, I've taken damage. And Thunderclap being like the lesser version of Thunderwave, which they've got as a level 1 spell, but Thunderclap basically being like they can either like use the handle of their melee weapon just to whack a certain part of their shield and it'd be like wah, 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 you know, and a big boom goes out of their shield. And for level 1 spells, I'm going with Animal Friendship, because this person I think is going to be very in tune with nature. They're going to be very tribalistic. They're going to be very, not like alpha male, but like they were high up in their kind of pack, in their tribe. So I think there's that general kind of vibe there that animals might not take this person on. Earth Tremor, which I think is going to be really good. So basically that just sends out a 10-foot earthquake from center. I think that's going to be really nice. If they've got a bludgeoning weapon, maybe they can just slam it on the ground and then it'd be like a... what else have I got? Healing word, because I've realised now that that's probably the best first level healing spell in the game. Mainly because it's a bonus action and it's at range, whereas Cure Wounds is a touch and one whole action. So at any point I could probably go, you have at least 1d4 hit points back. And Thunderwave, which is the grown-up version of Thunderclap. So this is, again, they'll have hit just the right part of their shield and a bigger Thunderwave will go out and it'll like knock people back and like shatter and splinter objects and stuff. Yeah, I like that. Your shield is a magical boombox enchanted by Thermalgy to boost the set. Yes, that could be it. Oh, and thus increasing the range certain spells can cast at would be a nice homebrewed item. It would be a nice homebrewed item. That would be very nice. So I think, spell-wise, that's everything, which feels really weird. Now, for this, I'm just going to go standard array, because that's what I always do for for generated characters. They're going to have their BARDbarian, so they're going to go strength, and then they're going to go, con, and then I'm going to go charisma, and then I'm going to go dex, and then I'm going to go intelligence, and then wisdom. There we go. So final scores on the doors: strength 17, dex 12, constitution 15, intelligence 10, wisdom 8, and charisma is 13. That's not a bad spread. That doesn't feel like a bad spread. Poor wisdom is almost always my dump start. Apart from, I think I'm playing a... Is wisdom cleric based? Yeah, wisdom's cleric based, isn't it? I'm playing a dragonborn cleric of life in a Curse of Strahd campaign at the moment, and his wisdom is off the scale. He also took what was it? Was it notice or something like that? Not notice. I'm thinking of talisman now. He took a feat like keen-eyed or aware or something like that, which boosts his like natural perception by like 7 minimum. So any natural perception checks that my character has, and also he can read lips. So whenever like the DM says, "Oh, they whisper this to each other," I'm like, "Okay, I'm looking in their general direction. I immediately know what they're saying." Did Healing Word make the list? Healing Word 100% made the list. Generosity, Healing Word definitely made the list. So background. What background am I thinking? I thought one of these said chieftain, not charlatan. What's a faceless? Being who you are, you could never be a hero, whether due to your class, your people, your family, or your sins. Something about you prevents you from effectively pursuing the path you've chosen. Even so, that doesn't stop you. You've left your old face behind, taking on a new persona, becoming something more. Characters with a faceless background don a disguise, literally or otherwise, as they adventure. This persona might be dramatic or subtle. In a way, though, many characters have such larger-than-life personalities. Therefore, this background largely focuses on detailing the hero behind the mask. That sounds very much like our changeling bard. So what? I don't want hermit. What do I want? Outlander? You grew up in the wilds, far from civilization and the comforts of town and technology. You've witnessed the migration of herds larger than forests, survived weather more extreme than any city dweller could comprehend, and enjoyed the solitude of being the only thinking creature for miles in any direction. Oh, you went changeling. Oh, that was previous. Batman. That was a previous character that we made. So a previous one, which you can check out on the For Demand or on YouTube now. We made a changeling bard. So we went for someone who, there's always like a bard that follows around adventuring groups, but what if it's sometimes the same bard? What if for the past like 30, 40 years or so, like the same bard has been just changing face every adventuring group? Because it'd be weird if like the same bard was trying to like always be part of a group. But if it's a different bard every adventuring group, then all of a sudden this bard is kind of thrust into the limelight. It's the bagpipe bard because we chose a bagpipe for a set of bagpipes for their musical weapon. So this is Gladiator. I like the idea of Gladiator. Gladiator is as much an entertainer as any minstrel or circus performer, trained to make the arts of combat into a spectacle the crowd can enjoy. Not a folk hero. I mean, that's kind of yeah. Oh yeah. I think you're there, Chenrisi. You came from humble social rank, but you are destined for so much more. Already, the people of your home village regard you as their champion, and your destiny calls you to stand against the tyrants and monsters that threaten the common folk everywhere. Ooh, I quite like that. What's a Baldur's Gate folk hero? Baldur's Gate is a city barely in need of heroes, and every so often one rises from amongst its own. Ordinary people who rise to greatness. I don't think he wants to be from Baldur's Gate. Fisher, faceless, entertainer, criminal/spy, criminal, charlatan, acolyte, guild artisan, haunted, hermit. What's a hermit? You lived in seclusion, either in a sheltered community, such as a monastery, or entirely alone. No, that doesn't. Candlekeep. No, that doesn't sit right either. A knight, a marine. A marine. You're trained for battle on sandy beaches and rocky shores. No. A noble, an outlander, a pirate, a sage, a sailor, a shipwright, a smuggler, a candlestick maker. No. A soldier or an urchin. I'm thinking a folk hero might be the best one. Yeah, I'm thinking of folk hero. You come from humble social rank, but you're destined for so much more. Already the people of your home village regard you as their champion, and your destiny calls you to stand against the tyrants and monsters that threaten the common folk everywhere. I like that. Choose some artisan tools. So this is someone. What would they have? What would they have? It does suit, doesn't it? I like that. Alchemist supplies, no. Brewers supplies, maybe. Definitely not calligraphers. Maybe carpenters. I like the idea of a cartographer, but I don't think that's this build. Cobbler, cook. Someone who makes food for the party. I don't hate that. I don't hate cook's utensils. Glass blowers, no. Jewelers, no. Leatherworkers, no. Masons, painters, potters, smiths, tinkers, weavers, and wood carvers. So it's either something that they enjoy doing or something that they know through their experience. I'm thinking it might be cook. I think this is someone who can fight, can sing, and can, make a pretty decent meal. Yeah, absolutely. A barbarian would carry the oral history of his clan combined with his fighting skills. He would be a folk hero, yeah. I don't know, I like the idea of cook's utensils. I like the idea of brewer's supplies, but adventurers very rarely get enough time to actually, make beer. I love the idea of cartographer's tools because I love the idea of making a map maker at some point. Maybe that's a different character to make a cartographer. Or someone who just likes making pottery. But potter's tools, what is potter's tools actually? Does it tell me? No, it doesn't. Does it tell me what cook utensils are? No. Yeah, I think cook's utensils. I like the idea that this is someone who can take care of themselves. There's a dwarven thing. Orcs take beer from dead dwarves. Background feature: rustic hospitality. Since you came from the ranks of the common folk, you fit in among them with ease. You can find a better place to hide, rest, and recuperate amongst other commoners, unless you have shown yourself to be a danger to them. They will shield you from the law or anyone else searching for you, though they will not risk their lives for you. That's fair. Personality traits. I judge people by their actions, not by their words. If someone is in trouble, I'm always ready to lend a hand. I like that. I think this is going to be a chaotic good person. Cooking feels like a very good social choice. I think I'll add that dynamic to like resting and camping and stuff like that. And you never know, given who the DM may be, they may also say, cool, because of the really nice food you've cooked, that will give you 1d4 extra health, you know? Also a good poisonous choice. Yeah, true. When I set my mind to something, I follow through no matter what gets in my way. I have a strong sense of fair play and always try to find the most equitable solution to arguments. I'm confident in my own abilities and do what I can to instill confidence in others. I mean, that's, yeah, depending on who you cook for. Yeah, it's true. Thinking is for people. I prefer action. Thinking is for other people, not just people. I misuse long words in an attempt to sound smarter. I get bored easily. When am I going to get on with my destiny? I like, if someone is in trouble, I'm always there to lend a hand. And I judge people by their actions, not by their words. Ideals. Confidence does suit. Yeah, I do like that one myself. Can I add 3? Yeah, fuck it. It's my character, I can do what I want. Ideals. Respect, fairness, freedom, might, sincerity, or destiny. I can choose one of these. So respect, good. People deserve to be treated with dignity and respect. Yep. Bonds. I have a family, but I have no idea where they are. One day I hope to see them again. I work the land, I love the land, and I will protect the land. A proud noble once gave me a horrible beating, and I will take my revenge on any bully I encounter. My tools are symbols of a past life, and I carry them with me so I never forget my roots. Ooh, I like that. I protect those who cannot protect themselves. I also really like that one. I wish my childhood sweetheart would come with me to pursue my destiny. I like that one. I protect those who cannot protect themselves. Flaws. The tyrant who rules my land will stop at nothing to see me killed. Oh, that's a good story hook. I'm convinced of the significance of my destiny and blind to my shortcomings and the risk of failure. The people who knew me when I was young know my shameful secret. I can never go home again. I have a weakness for the vices of the city, especially hard drink, and secretly I believe that things would be better if I were the tyrant lording over the land, and I have trouble trusting my allies. Yeah, none of those. I like the tyrant who now rules my land will stop at nothing to see me killed. I like being the thorn in the side of a mid-boss bad guy. Character alignment, chaotic good. Chaotic good creatures act as their conscience directs, with little regard for what others expect. Copper dragons, many elves, and unicorns are chaotic good. Faith, not at this point. Lifestyle, let's go with modest. The northern part of town, renting a room in a boarding house, inn, or a temple. What's poor? Fed, bed, clothing, unpredictable conditions. Your accommodations might be a room in a flop house or a common room above a tavern. I think they'd go with modest, to be honest with you. Or squalid? Squalid. You have a shelter from the elements, but you live in a desperate and often violent environment. Yeah, no, maybe poor. Suits with the support skills. Yes, fits with folk hero. I can see you sitting there in a shadowy corner of an inn. Drunk bully picks on a young waitress. You stand up and place a hand on his shoulder, towering over him. Yes, absolutely. Characteristics. Hair, yes. Skin, yes. Eyes, yes. Something in hair. How am I thinking? I think reasonably generic at this point. Short brown. Skin, grey-green. Eyes will be, let's go with blue. Height is going to be 6 foot. I want to be quite tall, 6 or 7, just taller than me. Weight in pounds, let's go for 245. He a big boy. Age in years, let's go for, oops, 0. 30. And gender, male. Personal characteristics. Yep. And notes, organizations, allies, enemies, backstory, and other. Nope. Happy with all of that. Excellent stuff. So now equipment. Actually, go back. Doop. Half-Orc portraits. Let's have a quick look. Can I just zoom in on these? There we go. Oh, I like that one. That one's quite cool. Oh, that one's good too. Oh, I like that one. I like the one with the red bandana on. See, that one's a bit more human than orc. I kind of like that because they are more human than orc. But they also don't seem like they would be kind of taken seriously as a folk hero, you know? I love the idea of that one. That's very barbarian, but not... That's kind of more bard than barbarian. These half-orcs look very orky. They do a bit, don't they? What other character ones have we got? Are we going to load these ones? Oh, we are. Fantastic. Yeah, that's very orky, isn't it? I could go for someone like that and just say they have like pointy teeth. You know, they could be more human than orc, but more serious than where is it? Than this one. I don't know. I like that one. Teeth are a bit far out though. I'm thinking this one. I think the one with the red bandana. You could absolutely edit it. I could, yeah. Could absolutely edit it. I'm thinking this one right now because they look quite big, quite serious. Like they could go for a bit of a rough and tumble in a fight, but also like they could, you know, whip you up a nice meal afterwards. I'm liking this one. Apply this one. As yet unnamed. Can I just generate? Oh no, I don't want to go to fancy name generator. Did I just open a new tab or did I just completely screw myself over? No, good. Let's go for randomize. Sometimes you can get... Ooh, that's very close to Urash. Sometimes you can get some decent ideas from this. Hematier. Hematier is a nice one. Princess Twinkletoes the Barbarian. Nice. He looks capable. That's the vibe I'm going for. Capable half-orc barbarian. Hang on. Tool proficiencies, vehicles. Komobash. Komobash sounds like the end result of what he does to his enemies. Zarim. Zarim's not a bad shout. I like this starts with a Z as well. There's something about that just feels nice. Yeah, I quite like that. Zarim. Let's go with that right now. Subject to change, obviously. My starting equipment is either going to be equipment or gold. I'm going to go with equipment. Any melee weapon. Or warhammer, you say. Double-bladed scimitar. Oh, it doesn't give me a write-up of what they are. And also what I can do with them. So, can I see... Where can I see thingy? Give me a new tab. I want D and D5E weapons. D&D Beyond equipment. Weapons. There we go. So what have we got? We have got, where is Warhammer? Simple melee weapons, range weapon, martial melee weapons. Versatile 1d10. So that's if I'm wielding it in two hands, right? How do I know something's two-handed? Oh, it will say two-handed. Okay, cool. So like a pike. Cool. Yes, that's true, Giblix. I could do that. Why not gold? You can buy more and have some... Yeah, that's a good shout. I don't think this person's going to have a lot of equipment on them. Martial ranged weapons. Nope, that's fine. Let's say versatile. Versatile. What does versatile mean? This weapon can be used in one or two hands. The damage value in parentheses appears with the property the damage... appears with the property the damage when the weapon is used with two hands to make a melee attack. So one-handed... thank you, Generosity. One-handed is 1d8. Two-handed is 1d10. That's fine. I like the idea of Warhammer. War pick. That's not a bad shout. Trident, short sword, scimitar, rapier, pike, morning star. A maul. Oh, that's two-handed. A longsword, a lance. A longsword, you say? No, I like the idea of a hammer. Why not go for a style? Why not go for style? A spiked chain. Is a spiked chain on here? Is that a thing? Flail? I call it flail. I do like the idea of that. A flail, a glaive. I don't want a glaive. That's 200. That's 200. That's 200. No, no, no. Reach and special. That's, but not 200. Huh. a shield and a lance. Just longsword, maul. I like the idea of a morning star. Nah, it's going to be a Warhammer. It's 100% going to be a Warhammer, isn't it? Let's go back to my previous tab, which I think I do by that. Yes, no. That's not what I wanted to do. Oh, is it? No, it's not. I just want to do that. Cool. I'll learn the keyboard shortcut for that one day. Hammer's good versus undead, heavily armored opponents, etc. You raise a good point. Why don't I go for gold? What's gold? 2d6. Sorry, 2d4 times 10 gold. Add starting gold. What? How do I randomize? 20 gold. Fine. Add starting gold. How do purchase items? Currency, 20 gold. That didn't go as planned. Add items. Does it tell me how much stuff costs? It does. So let's go for weapon. Ooh, arm blade. Ooh, look at all this. Let's go for war. Oops, war hammer. The Hellfire Warhammer. No, I'm not getting into legendary items. Hellfire Warhammer. 15 gold. Excellent. Shame it's nothing with Warhammer anymore, with D&D anymore, but where blunt weapons were the only thing in melee that would actually hurt undead. Yeah. Warhammer of Returning. Warhammer of Returning. Alright, I've changed my mind. I don't want to do gold. I want to do equipment. Warhammer. And a simple weapon? Make sure you don't shortchange yourself. Or two-hand axe. Simple weapon or two-hand axes? A simple weapon or two-hand axes? I'm going to go for... I really like the boomerang. I do really like the idea of a boomerang. Don't know why. An explorer's pack with 4 javelins. And 4 javelins. Includes a backpack, a bedroll, a mess kit, a tinderbox, 10 torches, 10 days of rations, and a water skin. The pack also has 50 feet of hempen rope strapped to the side of it. Nice. A folk hero starting equipment. A set of artisan's tools. Do I not already have artisan's tools? I thought I took thingy. What did I take? Cook's utensils. There we go. Still doesn't give me any information. A shovel for burying the bodies. An iron pot. A set of common clothes. And a pouch containing 10 gold. Fantastic. Let's just get rid of that. And add starting equipment. I think I may have accidentally added gold as well. So let me just knock that down to 10. There we go. Because otherwise I'm very rich. There we are. So we've got our backpack. I'm just going to wield my Warhammer. And I'm also going to add an item. Shield. How much is shield? Shield is 10 gold. That's fine. Add that item. I'm going to subtract that, and I'm going to be a poor adventurer. But that's fine, because I'm going to have a shield. And I'm going to have... I don't have any armor, but I do have an armored defense, which is good. Describing yourself to the party, you see a well-used shield buckled to the back. A small hand mirror, a poker, a 10-foot pole, and a big bag to put over people's heads. This is my kidnapping kit. So yeah, let's view my character sheet. Oh, ace. There we go. So I have an AC of 15, which is pretty decent for level 2, essentially. And 21 hit points, which is mind-blowing for level 2. Let's go. Wait, do I have to? Oh no, so Bard's spells are like sorcerer's spells. I don't need to learn them each day. I don't need to worry about that, do I? I'm going to assume I don't, though. I really, really like this build. Yeah, I like this. Let's do an action. Bonus actions, spells, healing word, fantastic. Bardic inspiration. Most don't need to prep their spells each day. Good. Thinking to yourself, how many bodies have I buried? I mean, you lose count after it reaches double digits. So attack. Let's do a Warhammer attack. And that is a 15 to hit. And let's say it hits and then do damage. Which would be so that's bludgeoning. What's the little symbol there? Oh, presumably I can't do that. Oh no, I can do that. 1d10. Oh, I can do that. Okay. Or maybe that's what I have equipped. Okay, yeah, 1d8 plus. Yeah, excellent stuff. Cool. Bonus action, 2 weapon fighting and healing word. Reactions, opportunity attack, other and limited use, bardic inspiration. Rage, which I keep forgetting is a thing because he's a barbarian. And relentless endurance. Nice. Yeah. I must have buried a lot of enemies. Yes, enemies. So animal handling, athletics, intimidation, medicine, perception, and survival. Those are all pretty cool. And I get a bonus proficiency in con and strength saving throws. I'm really happy with all of this. So now I'm gonna just up the barbarian. I don't think I'm going to take the bard any further than this, but the barbarian I'm going to take to level 3. Then class features. So at level 2 we get reckless attack, which means starting at level 2 you cast aside all concern for defense to attack with fierce desperation. When you make your first attack on your turn, you can decide to attack recklessly. Doing so gives you advantage on melee weapon rolls using strength during this turn, but attack rolls against you have advantage until the next turn. And Danger Sense, which I don't think I have ever used successfully. At second level, you gain an uncanny sense of when things nearby aren't as they should be, giving you an edge when you dodge away from danger. You have advantage on dex saving throws against effects that you can see, such as traps and spells. To gain traps and spells. I never knew it was against spells. To gain this benefit, you can't be blinded, deafened, or incapacitated. And Primal Path. So we've got the Primal Path at 3rd level, which is what I was interested in. You choose a path that shapes the nature of your rage. The path of the Berserker is detailed at the end of the class descriptions on the additional primal paths available in other sources. Okay, to try and avoid all those pesky fireballs. Yeah, most of them probably coming from other party members. I love the idea of the Path of Wild Magic. Can't get enough of the idea of Path of Wild Magic, because you get magical awareness and a wild surge as well. The magical energy rolling inside you sometimes erupts from you, which is brilliant, but I don't think that's this person. I was a Totem Warrior. I know the Berserker is very much hacky, and Beast is kind of almost like a werewolf build, because you can choose like to have either like fangs, teeth, or a tail at the start of each day, I think it is. But I'm interested in the Ancestral Guardian. Where are we? Ancestral Protectors. Starting when you choose this path at 3rd level, Spectral Warriors appear when you enter your rage. While you're raging, the first creature you hit with an attack on your turn becomes the target of the warriors, which hinders its attacks. Until the start of your next turn, that target has disadvantage on any attack roll that isn't against you. And when the target hits a creature other than you with an attack, that creature has resistance to the damage dealt by the attack. The effect on the target ends early if your rage ends. I do like that. What have we got for Storm Herald? Starting at 3rd level, you emanate a stormy magical aura when you rage. The aura extends 10 feet from you in every direction, but not through total cover. Your aura has an effect that activates when you enter your rage, and can activate the effect. You can activate the effect again on each of your turns as a bonus action. Choose desert, sea, or tundra. Your aura's effect depends on the chosen environment, as detailed below. So depending on what I have, desert. When this effect is activated, all other creatures in your aura take 2 fire damage each. So I can just go bonus action, take 2 fire damage. Bonus action, take 2 fire damage each turn. This increases when you reach certain levels. The sea is when this effect is activated, you can choose one other creature you can see in your aura. The target must make a dex saving throw, which are notoriously good. The target then takes 1d6 lightning damage on a failed save, half as much on a successful save. And Tundra. When this effect is activated, each creature of your choice in your aura gains 2 temporary hit points, as icy spirits inure it to suffering. The temporary hit points increase when you reach certain levels. What's the Zealot? Divine Fury. Starting when you choose the path at 3rd level, you channel Divine Fury into your weapon strikes. I'm not too hot on that one. So Totem Warrior I have been. Storm Herald is auras. Berserker is whack whack kill. I still like the Ancestral Guardian, because that means that adds an extra flavour to temporary hit points. Aren't worth it if the enemy looks at you the wrong way. It's already gone. Yeah, 2 temporary hit points is garbage. Let's just have a quick look at Wild Magic. Come on. Load. Magical Awareness. As an action, you can open your awareness to the presence of concentrated magic. Until your next turn, you know the location of any spell or magical item within 60 feet that isn't behind total cover. When you sense a spell, you learn what school of magic it belongs to. So that's Detect Magic. You can use this feature a number of times equal to your proficiency bonus, and you regain all expended uses when you finish a long rest. I mean, I like the idea of that mechanically, but thematically I don't think it works for this person. I do love this though. It's handy when an enemy is using a concentration spell, but you've got no idea what it is. Yeah. The magical energy rolling inside of you sometimes erupts from you. When you enter your rage, roll on the wild magic table to determine your magical effect produced. If the effect requires a saving throw, the DC is 8 plus your proficiency bonus plus your con modifier. And we have loads. Everything from shadowy tendrils lash around you, you teleport up to 30 feet in an occupied space, an intangible spirit that looks like a flump or a pixie appears within 5 feet, you magically imbue a weapon, whenever a creature hits you with an attack roll, that creature takes 1d6 force damage. Until your rage ends, you gain +1 to your AC. You basically make the ground around you difficult terrain, or a bolt of light shoots from your chest, so like the Iron Man beam. Another creature of your choice can also see 30 feet. They take radiant damage. So they're all... Wait, how do I do this? The magical energy rolling when you enter your rage, roll on the magical... Oh, okay, so this is every time I rage this happens. Oh, wow. Is this what Silvo has? No, this is close to what Silvo has. So this is one of the inspirations for Silvo's magic. There is an element of Silvo that you haven't seen yet. Yeah, Iron Man beam sounds better than what I described as a Care Bear beam. I mean that too. I mean they've got to have gotten it from somewhere, right? Yeah, this is close to what I saw. So I was reading Tasha's guide when I made Silvo, and I'm like, this sounds really cool because I like the idea of wild magic, but it can get real old real fast, and it almost takes the seriousness out of a character. Where I've watched campaigns where people have had a wild mage, and people start rooting for the mental stuff to happen more than the actual good dice rolls. Like, oh yeah, let's teleport you to the far realm. I actually wrote, let me see if I can get this up on a different window. That's not what I want to do. Let's go back to Discord a second. Let me just see. This is a sneak preview into Silvo's building. Just go to a chat. Let's just see if I can find where on earth I put that document. Oh, this was a while ago. Wow, we've been playing this for a while. We have been playing this for a while. Oh, here we go. This was a version of it. So I actually wrote some homebrew for Silvo specifically, but I kind of made it into a generic homebrew to make it a bit more palatable for other people, because it was basically Silvo's magic, but this was what it turned into. So this was the document I made. This isn't what Silvo actually is, don't get me wrong, but oh yeah, true, you better extended wild surge lists, and so stuff gets reused and it's still exciting. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, wild surge number 789. You sprout chicken legs and walk around clucking and laying eggs. You gain 4 hit points for every egg eaten. So this is what I made for Silvo. I'll go through this properly another day, but basically it was thinking about some of the cosmetic changes of Aberrant Mind Sorcerers. So spells like Firebolt, Mage Hand, Mage Armor that Silvo has. So Firebolt, for example, it would be black fire erupts from the sorcerer's hands, and what looks like a shard of darkness streaks towards the target. Although this makes no changes mechanically to how it actually how it actually works. Mage Hand, it would look like ink floating in water and bare visible claws. And Mage Armor would be black ink covers the skin under the sorcerer's clothing before fading away, leaving a slightly translucent residue on them. Rather than the stereotypical kind of like, Mage Armor, chunk. Does this mean you bought that book you didn't want to buy, or was that something else? No, well, I bought Tasha's Cauldron of Everything and Xanathar's Guide to Everything physically. I just didn't buy them digitally. I actually made this using a resource online, and I thought this could be a bit of a almost like a homebrew class, and I still like it, but this means that I can have this. Basically, this can be used whenever. So I like the idea of untrained magic. So the first attack spell of each day could go horribly wrong. You know, it says here, I put, the first attack spell of each day acts like the unpopping of a cork to the sorcerer's magic. When the first attack spell is cast that day, the player rolls a d20. On a 1, the player then rolls on the volatile magic table, and that effect is instead of the spell cast, still losing and expending a spell slot / sorcery points. So let's say I physically went to cast Mage Armor, I failed, and I would roll on this. Oh no, it's down here actually. I would roll on this table. I would roll a 5. It would then say, thick black thorny vines temporarily grow around you. For the next minute, the ground within 5 feet of you is difficult terrain for your enemies. But I'd still lose that spell slot. I did create this generally. I made this specifically for kind of the Aberrant Mind Sorcerer, to see. It struck me when I was reading the Aberrant Minds subclass that not all Aberrant Mind Sorcerers are going to want this power. Not all Aberrant Mind Sorcerers are going to be happy that this has happened to them. Take Silver, for example. When you used Mage Armor, I first assumed it was another spell that you were playing a Warlock instead. Yeah, that's fair. A lot of people have assumed I'm playing a Warlock. For example, if I went to cast not Mage Hand, what's a Magic Missile? Let's say I cast Magic Missile and I fail, right? Completely screw that up, and I have to roll on this. I have to roll on this volatile magic table. One of them that I thought of was you are transported to the Far Realm until the end of your next turn, after which time you return to a space you previously occupied or the nearest unoccupied space if that space is occupied. So basically, I just go Magic Missile and I just wink out of existence for 6 or 7 seconds. But in those 6 or 7 seconds, I am floating through the Far Realm, and there's eyes and tentacles and cosmic horrors and perversions of nature, and then all of a sudden, I'm back. But no one knows where I went. And there's some I mean, that's probably the goofiest thing. I didn't want too much goof. I wanted stuff that could be like proper encounter kind of breaking, if that makes sense. So if you were against a lot of creatures that the DM was like, "Mwahaha, this is really gonna screw you up," and I was surrounded, it could be a case of, you know, I rolled a 3, and a spirit which looks like a floating eyeball from the Far Realm appears within 5 feet of one creature of your choice that you can see. At the end of the current turn, the spirit explodes. So basically a floating bomb just appears, just out of nowhere, and it's just like, I'm going to go over here and explode. Also, you cast Magic Missile at 5th level, which is a lot higher. And the spell appears as oily black missiles that emit a shriek as they're cast. All of this stuff, I tried to reflavor fonts. Yeah, that's exactly what I went for. I tried to go for this slightly more serious, slightly grittier version of magic, like the darker side of magic, but not necessarily like this is someone who really wanted this to happen. This has just kind of happened to them. So anyway, long story short, this is what I originally wrote for Silvo. I also I didn't introduce them, but I also thought of the idea of stress saves. So if the player, or rather the character, were oh no, Arv hasn't okayed this. Just to let you know, Chenrizi, this isn't in Ghost of Saltmarsh. This was something I wrote off the back of Silvo being a character that existed. This isn't in Saltmarsh. Okay, none of this is actually in Saltmarsh. This is just something I wrote aside from that. But yeah, stuff like trying to control an unknown magical force during a stressful situation can sometimes lead to unexpected consequences. Little head nod to Half-Life there. During these times, the sorcerer must make a charisma saving throw directed by the DM. Failing this save results in rolling a 1d12 on the volatile magic table and having that effect happen in parallel to the spell or cantrip cast. So for example, if I were to cast Mage Hand, but I had just seen every other party member die, my character would not Silvo, my character would not be able to hold on to their shit, and they'd be like, Mage Hand, and they'd actually also disappear from existence for 6 seconds, or they'd teleport 30 feet, or they'd cover the floor in horrible inky spikes, that sort of thing. I also thought of the following examples. Some of these have been taken directly from Darkest Dungeon. The following examples of unsettling events can be used to increase the character's stress levels. This is not a measured metric, such as death saves or exhaustion. This offers fluidity between the player and the DM. So unsettling events could be being on low hit points, falling to 0 hit points, being stabilised or resurrected, which can be quite stressful, witnessing a critical hit on a party member, witnessing a party member falling to 0 hit points, witnessing a party member being resurrected, any exposure to psychic damage, torture, aberrations, traps, or witnessing a great tragedy or death of a loved one, that sort of thing. Hello, Echo Alpha. On the brief pause, how fares character creation? It's going well. I'm just going through some homebrew that I made a little while ago, around the time that I made Silvo's character. Long story short, this isn't part of Silvo's backstory, but this is part of... this is just something I made off of the back of creating Silvo as a character, basically. Nod towards real PTSD stuff. Yeah, absolutely. As a sufferer from that, I've absolutely sort of taken this as an inspiration for these unsettling events. And then also, using a stress-based mechanic can encourage players to think of their character's downtime. Taking time out to meditate at a temple or having a few well-earned drinks in a tavern might help their character's mental state. Cycling from town to dungeon constantly will wear down the mind of any adventurer. And growing into their magic, I didn't want this to be a constant thing because, like I said, wild magic can sometimes be a bit of a bore if it's, if they've had this affliction with magic for a while, it can get a bit dull sometimes, whereas I wanted it to make more thematic sense. At some point, the sorcerer will have practiced their magic enough that they no longer pose a constant threat to those around them. And a conversation between the DM and the player can then help with this element. And then this handout can just be completely ignored. But these are all taken, these are all quite cosmetic changes for the Aberrant Mind Sorcerer, taken from things like the Wild Mage, the Wild Mage table, and the Wild Barbarian Mage table as well. So some of these are a bit of a mixture of them, but I just thought it was a nice thing to have written down, even if it's never used, which it's not. Again, it's not in Ghost of Saltmarsh, so don't take any of this as kind of secret backstory. This is just something I made off of the back of creating Silvo as a character. Anyway, the reason we're on this subject is because I was looking at the wild magic, the path of the wild magic for barbarians. I don't think I'm going to go for path of the wild magic for barbarians. I think I'm going to go for Ancestral Guardian. I like the idea of Ancestral Guardian, but I'm glad people enjoyed that. That was a bit of an aside, but I'm really glad people liked that. Yes, so starting when you choose this path at 3rd level, Spectral Warriors appear when you enter your rage. And while you're raging, the first creature you hit with an attack on your turn becomes the target of those warriors, which hinder its attacks. Until the start of your next turn, that target has disadvantage on any attack roll that isn't against you, and when the target hits a creature other than you with an attack, that creature has resistance to the damage dealt by the attack. The effect on the target ends early if your rage ends. Okay, so I like the primal path of the Ancestral Guardian. But I'm going to reset this down back to 1. So yes, confirm, take my level back down to 1. So I'm now only level 2, which is good. And I'm going to go back to my character sheet. I don't think I needed it to do anything else with this character. I think this character might be finished. So they are going to wield a shield and a warhammer. Spell-wise, just get back to spells. For cantrips, they've got Vicious Mockery and Thunderclap. So Thunderclap is basically take handle of hammer and clang it against the part of the shield, and a mini kind of thunderclap comes out. Vicious Mockery is them just insulting their enemies. Animal Friendship means that because of their background and upbringing, they're, not every animal is going to try and attack them. Earth Tremor is similar to them just Thor hitting the ground with his hammer and a big kind of eruption of ground coming out. Healing Word is, to be honest, it's more in tune with the character being able to just inspire people. Actually, that's a really good way of thinking about it. He kind of convinces people that they're not as injured as they think they are. So then they're like, oh, maybe I'm not as injured. Oh, okay, I actually feel a little bit better now, thank you. You know? And then Thunder Wave is going to be, they do exactly the same thing as Thunder Clap, but they hit that sweet spot on their shield, and they're just like, oh, bam, and then boom, big, massive kind of Thunder Wave comes out. Or maybe they do it when they're really angry. So yeah, I like this. I like this character a lot. I'm not making this for a specific campaign. I'm just making this because it's fun, to be honest with you. Let's have a quick look. So I'm very happy with this. I don't think I would go any further down the Bard road. Let's just have a quick look at 3. I really don't think I would. Bard College, so Song of Rest and Jack of all Trades is what you would get at 2nd level. Jack of all Trades is essentially... yeah, it's the Orc Barbarian version of Walk It Off, buddy. Yeah, you're fine, it's just a flesh wound. Starting at 2nd level, you can add half of your proficiency bonus rounded down to any ability check that you make that doesn't already include your proficiency. Okay, cool. And Song of Rest means you can use soothing music or oration to revitalize your wounded allies during a short rest. So basically, short rest, they gain an additional 1d6 hit points whenever they use hit dice. Yeah, which I think is pretty cool. But Bard College, so if I were going to take them to another level in Bard, I think 2nd would thematically be really good. I'm not sure about Bard Colleges though, because I don't think this person... I don't really know that much about them. The different Bard Colleges, I mean. So, it would be nice to know if we could have a write-up of them, but apparently not. Oh, okay. Well, let's go to College of Swords. Fighting style. At 3rd level, you adopt a fighting style of your speciality. Okay. Dueling or 2-weapon fighting? Nope. College of Valor, which would be combat inspiration. A creature that has bardic inspiration die from you can roll that die and add that number. Roll to a weapon damage roll that it's just made. Alternatively, when an attack roll is made against the creature, it can use its reaction to roll the bardic inspiration die and add the number rolled to its AC. Whoa. After seeing the roll, but before knowing whether it hits or misses. Oh, that's... yeah, fair enough. Okay. You gain proficiency with medium armor, shields, and martial weapons. I already have those proficiencies anyway with being a barbarian. Yeah, I don't think I'm going to be taking this person to higher levels of Bard. I think if I did, 2 levels because of the Song of Rest. But other than that, I don't think I'm going to be wasting too many levels on Bard rather than Barbarian. I'd miss out on a lot of really cool Barbarian stuff if I did. But that's it. That's, what did we name them? Zarim. The current name of Zarim. Level 2 male Half-Orc Barbarian Bard. So BARDbarian. Wielder of shield and warhammer and lots of almost Thor-inspired in-combat effects, which I really like. So yeah, I'm going to wrap things up now because this has gone way easier and way quicker than I thought it would, to be honest with you. So I'm going to thank everyone for tuning in. I will most likely be streaming. I am going to be streaming tomorrow at some point in the evening BST because I'm going to be playing Resident Evil 7 in VR because it's spooky season and I hate headphone users. So that's something that's going to be happening tomorrow. So stay tuned on the channel for that. And also later on tonight over on twitch.tv/GOGCOM, so the GOGCOM channel, I'm taking part in the GOG Showdown. So it's all about horror games. I don't know if I'm going to know anything, so I could be there for a long time or I could be there for a very short time, but I hope to see you then. So thanks so much, everyone. I'm going to leave you with some nice music and our lovely animation, and I will see you next time.